Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we dig into the sources you send us, pull out the really important bits, and explore what they mean, for you.
And today, we're looking at something that I think almost everyone struggles with, that feeling of just being swamped, brain totally full, right? Tasks, worries, everything.
Definitely.
The sources we're diving into today, though, they offer a pretty clear path through that, almost like a user guide for your own mind.
Exactly. So our mission here, based entirely on these materials, is to unpack those key ideas. How can you, the listener, free up that mental bandwidth, get focused again, and actually start, doing things intentionally instead of feeling stuck?
Right. We'll be pulling out insights that definitely feel like they come from maybe psychology or practical coaching, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But it's all coming straight from the source materials you gave us for this deep dive.
Okay, let's get into it then. The very first big theme that just jumps out from these sources is, well, it's crucial. You absolutely have to get stuff out of your head.
Mm-hmm. That's the bedrock. Really, it starts with this core idea. Your brain. It's not actually designed for long-term storage. Not for every little task and idea, anyway.
We try, don't we? Remember the call, the dry cleaning, that project idea? But that David Allen quote in the sources says, your mind is for having ideas, not holding them.
It's such a good quote.
Yeah.
And the analogy they use. Brilliant. Your brain is like a computer, right?
Yeah.
Every single thing you're trying to remember, every task you have it decided on, it's like another open tab. And you know what happens. Too many tabs. Yeah. And the whole system just grinds to a halt, slows down, might even crash.
Oh, I know that crash feeling. Yeah. So the fix, according to the sources, it sounds almost too simple. Maybe that's why we fight it. Just offload it, write it down.
Exactly. There's that story about Jane, the teacher. Couldn't sleep, mind racing with everything she had to do. Started keeping a notebook right by her bed. Before sleep, she'd just empty her head onto the paper. Sleep got way better. Her brain could finally relax because it knew those tasks were safe, captured in the notebook. It didn't have to keep juggling them.
That really knows it, doesn't it? Stop relying on your memory as your to-do list. It's just, it's unreliable and it burns so much energy.
Right. Trust something outside your head, a notebook, an app, whatever. Just get it out there, that external step. That's what frees up your thinking space.
Okay, so you get things out, then what? The sources bring up something else that sounds small but is apparently pretty powerful. The 2-minute rule.
Ah, yes, the 2-minute rule.
Yep.
It does sound almost trivial.
Right. Like if something takes 2 minutes or less, just do it.
Yeah.
Right then.
And the examples are things we all deal with constantly. Firing off that quick email reply, filing that one receipt, putting that thing away, tossing the junk mail.
Tiny things.
Tiny. But here's why it works, according to the sources. It stops those little things from piling up. They don't become mental clutter or, worse, things you procrastinate on forever.
It's like washing the cup right after you use it, instead of letting the sink fill up.
Exactly that. That little bit of immediate action stops a bigger mess later.
It reminds me of that Brian Tracy quote they included. The key to success is to start before you're ready.
The 2-minute rule is kind of a micro version of that, isn't it? Just forces you to start, pushes past that initial inertia on the small stuff.
Okay, so clear the decks, handle the quick hits. But what about all those random thoughts? The brilliant shower ideas, the, need to remember that stuff. That brings us to another point. Capture everything.
You know exactly that feeling. Great idea walking the dog, forgotten errand in traffic. The sources have this funny analogy. Your brain sometimes acts like a toddler, just shouting random things it remembers.
Oh, yeah, sounds familiar. And David Allen's advice is pretty blunt. Capture all.
Critically, though, the sources say it's less about how you capture it and more about having one place you trust.
Right. Could be sticky notes, voice memo on your phone, an app, a little notebook. The tool itself isn't the magic part.
No, the magic is the consistent habit of using that one tool.
They mentioned Michael, the graphic designer, lost ideas during dog walks.
Yeah. Started using a voice recorder app. Just spoke the ideas out loud right when they hit him. Boom! Suddenly he has this amazing backlog of concepts to work with later.
So the real takeaway here is about building trust with your own mind.
Precisely. Once your brain learns, okay, when I have an idea, it gets captured reliably, it stops needing to constantly remind you. It trusts the system. And that frees up a ton of mental energy.
Interesting. Now, another big source of stress the materials address is that feeling you have to do it all yourself. This idea that not everything is yours to do.
Oh, this is huge for people. And the sources offer a really practical filter. For any task, you basically have 4 options. Do it, Delegate it, defer it, meaning do it later, or delete it.
Just those 4 choices. Sounds simple, but powerful.
It can be incredibly stress-reducing just to run things through that filter. Think about Maria, the small business manager in the example.
Right, she was totally drowning.
Doing every little admin task herself. Once she actually looked at what could be delegated stuff, her assistant could easily handle her workload, became manageable. She could finally think about the bigger picture stuff.
That's such a key insight. It's not lazy, is it? It's strategic.
Exactly. It's smart. Focus your limited energy on what really needs you. Letting go of the rest. That's focus.
So, wrapping up this first big section, it's about getting things out of your head because it's not storage.
Using that 2-minute rule for quick wins.
Capturing everything reliably.
And learning to filter what's really yours to do.
And the sources really tie this directly to feeling better, don't they? That quote resonates. Productivity isn't about doing more, but doing what matters with peace of mind.
Yeah, it's clearing the static so you can actually think clearly, so you can, breathe.
Okay, which perfectly sets up the second major theme from the sources, action in context. So you've captured everything. Now, how do you actually do it without feeling stressed or lost? It's about smart organization.
And the first point they make here is that context is, well, it's everything.
Explain that. What does context mean here?
Okay, think about this. You find yourself with, say, 30 minutes free. You look at your massive to-do list and you just freeze. Don't know where to start.
Happens all the time.
The sources argue that's often not a lack of motivation. It's because the list isn't organized by context.
Ah, okay. So separating things.
Exactly. You might have tasks needing a phone, tasks needing your computer, tasks for when you're running errands, tasks for home. The idea is to group your lists that way. Calls, computer, errands, home.
Gotcha. So you filter by what's possible right now.
Precisely. Like Ethan in the story. He used to have one giant list, got stuck, switched to context lists, now waiting in line. Pulls up calls, makes a quick one, uses those little pockets of time effectively because the choices are already relevant to his situation.
That makes a lot of sense. Less friction, match the task to the moment.
Gets things done faster, less mental effort. It's just easier to pick the right next thing.
Okay, context is key. What's next? The sources dive into something that trips up a lot of people. Those big, vague goals. Their point. Every project needs a clear next step.
Oh yeah, this is a big one. We all have them right. Plan vacation, start blog, clean the garage. They just sit there on the list looking huge and scary.
Totally. Because they're not actually actions.
Exactly. They're outcomes we want. David Allen's killer question, according to the sources, is what's the very next physical, visible action I need to take?
Physical, visible action, okay?
That question slices through the overwhelm. Plan vacation suddenly becomes search flights to Spain.
Right, or start blog becomes brainstorm 5 possible blog names.
Or clean garage becomes go buy storage bins. Concrete things you can actually do.
Like Lena dreaming of writing her children's book.
Yeah, for years. Too big, too daunting. Until she asked, what's one tiny physical step today? Her answer, write the first paragraph. That small, defined step broke the logjam, got her started. That Tony Robbins quote fits perfectly here. Clarity is power. It really does. Defining that next step gives you the power to actually move.
Okay, so capture, clarify the next step, organize by context. This is all building towards having a system, isn't it? Which is the next point. Create a trusted system one you'll actually use.
That's the critical part one you'll use. The sources are really clear on this. It's not about finding the absolute fanciest, most complex app or planner. No, it's about finding something, anything that works for you and that you trust enough to put everything into and then actually look at regularly.
So one main place, like a second brain.
That's a great way to put it. One central hub for tasks, ideas, reminders, everything. Takes the load off your actual brain.
Like Derek in the sources, tried tons of apps, always switching.
Got nowhere, right? Until he just picked one simple list app, committed to putting everything there and checking it consistently. The tool wasn't the magic. The habit and the trust in that one tool was the magic.
So the advice is really practical. Pick one tool, digital, paper, doesn't matter. Use it daily, review it weekly, and build that trust.
That trust is what lets your brain relax. It knows stuff isn't getting lost.
And that brings us right to the weekly review. Point 4, make the weekly review non-negotiable. The sources call it the secret reset button.
It's so crucial Because life happens, right? Even with great daily habits, things slip, priorities change, new stuff lands on your plate.
Yeah, the system can get messy fast.
Exactly. Without that regular check-in, your trusted system stops being trustworthy. The stress comes back. So the sources say, set aside dedicated time each week, maybe an hour, maybe less.
And what do you do in that review?
You look at everything. What got done, check it off, feels good, what's still pending, do things need updating, have new things come in?
Yeah.
Crucially, what are the next actions on your projects now?
It really is like hitting reset, cleaning house mentally.
Yeah. Sarah's Friday flow ritual is a great example. Before logging off, she clears her inbox, updates her list, sets priorities for Monday. She leaves work feeling clear, starts the next week feeling in control.
So it keeps the system alive and accurate, prevents it from becoming another source of stress.
Keeps you in the driver's seat.
Okay, final point in this section, and it kind of challenges how we think about productivity. Simplify to amplify.
Yeah, this pushes back against the do more, be busier mindset. The sources argue that real effectiveness, real productivity often comes from doing less, but doing the right things better.
Focus over volume.
Absolutely. It comes back to those filters. Delete, delegate, defer, do. Constantly pruning, asking, does this really need my attention? Can someone else do it? Does it even need doing at all?
So you free up energy for what truly matters.
Right, like Tom in the mini story. Busy constantly, felt like he was spinning his wheels. He got ruthless about simplifying, cut his task list way down.
And the result?
Felt more accomplished, not less. Had more energy, felt more alive, because he wasn't spreading himself thin over trivial stuff.
The analogy of the tree is good, focusing energy on deep roots, not endless branches.
Exactly. Concentrate your power.
Okay, so recapping this action section. Sort by context. Define the very next step. Build one trusted system you'll use. Review it weekly, religiously. And simplify, simplify, simplify.
And again, the sources frame this beyond just ticking boxes. It's about finding peace, getting your energy back, saying yes to clarity by saying no to the noise. Like they say, don't run faster, walk with purpose.
Which flows beautifully into the final theme. Mastering the flow. How does all this structure and clarity actually lead to that feeling of being in the zone and maybe even freedom?
Right. Point one is understanding the power of flow itself. That state where you're totally absorbed, time vanishes. It feels amazing, right?
Yeah, totally effortless when you're in it.
Well, the sources argue that flow isn't just random luck. It's often built on the kind of structure we've been talking about.
How so?
Think of that river analogy again. Your energy, your attention is the water. If the river bed your system, your mind is clear of debris, clear of undecided things and forgotten tasks.
The energy flows smoothly.
Powerfully. But if it's cluttered with mental junk,
Yeah.
you get stuck, blocked, stagnant,
Like Emma, the photographer. Her weeks were chaotic before.
lurching from crisis to crisis. But once she implemented these principles, cleared the mental clutter, organized her work, her days started to flow. She could actually get into that creative zone more easily because the background noise was managed.
So it's not about needing more time necessarily.
Often it's about needing fewer obstacles blocking your focus and energy.
Which brings us back again to maybe the most crucial element. You have to trust your system. Really trust it.
It keeps coming back to this, doesn't it? Think about how much energy gets wasted when part of your brain is constantly trying to remember things, worrying about what you've forgotten.
It's like a background hum of anxiety.
Exactly. A system you consistently use and review lets your brain finally let go. It learns the important stuff, is safe elsewhere.
Like Daniel who couldn't sleep.
Yeah, stressed about the next day. Started taking just 10 minutes each evening to review and organize his list for tomorrow in his system. That simple act let his brain switch off. It trusted the system would hold it.
There's that Joe Dispenza quote. They connect to this. Your personality creates your personal reality.
It's like this system provides a reliable framework, a structure for your mind to operate within. It shapes a reality where you can be calmer, more focused, less anxious.
And that trust gets reinforced, doesn't it, by that weekly review? The sources bring it up again here, but frame it as more than just maintenance, like a transformative ritual.
Absolutely. It's worth hitting the steps again because they see it as so fundamental. Check off accomplishments. Clear out what's no longer relevant. Clarify the next actions on everything active.
Like going to the gym for your life structure.
That's a great way to put it. Building that muscle of clarity and control. Natalie, running the nonprofit, her Sunday review is sacred. Coffee, music, aligning yourself with what truly matters for the week ahead.
And the tip is to make it enjoyable, right? Not a chore.
Yeah. Light a candle, Put on music. Celebrate the wins before planning the next steps. Make it a positive moment of taking control.
And doing this consistently allows for a major shift, the sources talk about, moving from reaction to intention.
Oh, this is key. Most of us, especially if we're busy, live in reaction mode, right?
Constantly putting out fires, answering the latest email.
Exactly. The day is dictated by whatever comes at you. But having a clear, reviewed system allows you to pause, look at the whole picture, and decide what's most important. You act from intention, not just reaction.
Like Carlos, who felt owned by his inbox.
Totally. Reacting all day, never getting to the important stuff, the shift. Starting his day by looking at his system, choosing his priorities before diving into email. Huge difference.
He started steering the ship instead of just being tossed by the waves.
Perfect metaphor. Reaction is the leaf in the wind. Intention is steering your own ship.
Which leads us finally to the bigger picture. What's the ultimate point of all this, according to the sources?
It's not just about checking off more tasks or being hyper-efficient. The real goal is, well, it's freedom.
Freedom. How so?
Freedom to think clearly. Freedom to be creative. Freedom to actually be present in your life without that constant nagging weight of unfinished business and mental clutter.
Like Elliot, the retired engineer, used the system to quiet his busy mind.
Didn't make him lazy. It freed up his mental energy to actually enjoy his retirement, dive into hobbies, be present.
So the lesson is, a clear mind isn't some luxury. It's foundational.
It's the path to doing things with less stress, more focus, and maybe even more meaning.
Okay, so bringing this all home, this deep dive has really walked us through a journey. From understanding why we need to declutter our minds,
Getting everything out.
to taking effective, organized action.
Context, next steps, trusted systems, weekly reviews.
And finally, finding that state of flow and ultimately freedom that comes from having that clarity and trust.
We've hit those core ideas again and again. Brain for having ideas, write it all down, the 2-minute rule, capture everything, review weekly, simplify, focus.
And the promise woven through these sources is pretty compelling. Mental clarity, less chaos, calm, maybe even joy in your work, just being able to breathe easier.
It's a powerful message, really. You don't have to live in that state of constant overwhelm.
So as we wrap up, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. Based on everything we've unpacked from these sources today, what's maybe the one very small, very simple step you could take today, right now even, to start building your trusted system or just clearing a tiny bit of that mental clutter?
Yeah, just one thing. Could be as simple as grabbing a piece of paper and writing down the first task that pops into your head after you finish listening.
A perfect place to start. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.